The Galapagos is a dream destination that I've always wanted to go to. In this video, I'll show you how I booked a round-trip ticket there in business class for $160. This will be a new series of how I booked, explaining the thought process and knowing what miles or points to use. You gotta know when to Amex, know when to Chase, know when to Avios, know when to cash. I follow the following rules for booking all award flights. 1. Identify the hardest leg to book and find availability. 2. Figure out what points program is the best. And 3. Ask if paying cash is better. As always, let's start with the most difficult leg to book. Normally, this would be the transatlantic or trans-Pacific leg. However, there actually seem to be a lot of options between North and Central South America. It turns out the hardest leg to book will be the flight out to the Galapagos. The Galapagos are part of Ecuador and have two airports, Baltra and San Cristobal. There are only domestic flights from Quito and Guayaquil. As for airlines, there's Avianca, Star Alliance, LATAM, Oneworld, and TAME, which has no alliance. On paper, the cash price for these flights isn't too bad. However, don't believe it. Those prices are for locals only, and you'll pay roughly $300 one way in peak season. So let's try and get that flight as part of an award. Availability on these flights can be very limited. Avianca availability can be searched on United.com, and I normally search LATAM availability on BA or Qantas, but neither Baltra nor San Cristobal appear as possible destinations on either website. I ended up calling BA, who said there was some availability on the Guayaquil-San Cristobal flight, but none on the Guayaquil-Baltra flights. Next, I needed to get to Guayaquil or Quito. SkyTeam, Delta, and Air Mexico fly to Quito, but I'd still need to pay cash to get to the Galapagos, so I ruled them out. On paper, Oneworld is a great option with Americans' wide coverage of the Caribbean and Central and South America. There's two reasons why I didn't go with them. The first is quality of the aircraft. One of the daily flights to Guayaquil is operated by a 767 with lie-flat business class seats. However, the other flight to Guayaquil, as well as both daily flights to Quito, are operated by the 737 MAX. I am not flying on that sardine can voluntarily. Not in business class, not in economy. The second problem with American I faced was the issue of married segments. Normally, award space represents physical seats per flight. If you search leg by leg and find an itinerary that works, it can be booked as an award. Not on American Airlines. American does saver availability by city pair. So there was saver availability on Chicago-Miami and on Miami-Guayaquil. But Chicago-Miami-Guayaquil? Oh no there, mister. The only options were Chicago-Philadelphia-Charlotte-Miami-Guayaquil, or similar silliness through Dallas or Tampa prior to Miami, and the price jumped from 20 to 30,000 miles in economy. So, no. That leaves Star Alliance. While I thought I'd never say this, United is actually the cheapest here. It's possible to construct an equivalent Avianca itinerary in mixed cabins, but at the time of booking, the Amex Avianca transfer wasn't working, so I couldn't have Avianca miles. There's a final reason why I ended up booking through United, the excursionist perk. Basically, book a round trip, and you get a free segment wholly within a region. It's supposed to give you a connecting flight within your destination region, and I used it to go from Lisbon to Dubrovnik last year on my summer vacation. However, the flights don't need to touch each other. There's some crazy hacks out there, like flying across the US or Asia for effectively free, depending on how you tack on the return leg, but that's a more advanced trick, and there's some great resources out there. Instead, I decided to use it as I was supposed to, booking a stopover in Quito for 2 days to explore the city before continuing on to the Galapagos. Other than the taxes and fees, the flight from Quito to the Galapagos is free. So, here's what I actually booked. Leg 1. Chicago, Panama City, Quito on Copa. Leg 2. Quito to Baltra on Avianca. I ran into a little trouble on Leg 3, as I wanted to minimize travel time, and availability was scarce on the day I wanted to return. So I'm flying Baltra, Quito on Avianca, Quito, Panama City, Washington, Dulles on Copa, and Dulles to Chicago on United. A quick note here, I was only able to book this because I had the United credit card. That gives extra economy award availability. Otherwise, I'd have a long layover in Monterrey, Mexico, which I'd prefer not to. Everything was in business class, except for Dulles, Chicago in economy. I would have been happy with economy the whole way, but there was only business class award availability on the flight to the Galapagos Islands themselves, so it would price higher regardless. Of the $160 in taxes and fees, $100 were Ecuador airport taxes, which I couldn't avoid anyway. Finally, before booking, I always compare against the cash price. Both JetBlue and Spirit Airlines fly to Quito and/or Guayaquil, and JetBlue was really cheap at $250 one way. However, when including the foreigner price for the flight to the Galapagos, round trips in economy are between $950 and $1,200. That's a cost per point of about 1.3 to 1.7. Alternatively, since I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I could have booked at a fixed 1.5 cents per point, which would be between 64,000 and 80,000 points. But I'm willing to pay a little extra to A, fly in business class, and B, have a stopover in Quito. So I paid 70,000 United points, which I transferred from Chase. If I'd wanted to pay cash for business class, it was between $2,400 and $4,000, so I'd say I got a good deal. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you found this video and the upcoming series helpful and inspiring. Let me know about any United Award redemption stories or post any questions you may have in the comments down below. Of course, I'll be doing flight reviews and travel videos of this trip. Be sure to like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more flight reviews and award booking stories. I'll see you on the next one. You gotta know when to Amex, know when to Chase, know when to Avios, know when to cash.